What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode we are returning to the Zanskar invasion as we continue our journey through Victory Gundam. Last time, Chronicle snuck into the League's base and captured Oi and Katajina. Zanskar decided to chop off Oi's head, and Uso went up against the Tomliat. Uso is tired of being used in their war, but realizes there is genuine camaraderie amongst them all. This time, Uso and the kids realize Karelia isn't a safe place for them, and permanently joins the Kemion. The team gets more Victory Gundam units, and they begin making their way towards Arty, Gibraltar. So let's get into this. Uso is piloting the Gundam on foot. They don't want the Kemion to be found. Chronicle is piloting a Zolo and Katajina in the passenger seat. They are to regroup with the Ricarl after this operation. Back in Karelia, Flanders throws up something and eats it. Flanders is the name of the dog. The show has a dog, a Haro, which is essentially a robot dog, and a war orphan baby. This is the trifecta of tragic but cute. They are waiting for Uso. When Chronicle's Zolo lands, she notices that Katajina is with him. She remembers that he was the one who saved her when he was in disguise. Uso is scouting when Zolos drop down and attack. He isn't able to get into his mobile suit in time, and they surround him. They carry the Gundam back to Chronicle. Uso wonders why she is with the Yellow Jackets. Katajina says she is working with Zanskar now to better understand them. She thinks fighting is just going to get them all killed. Odello and the kids are scouting Karelia. Victory takes off. He wants to steal the Zolo. Chronicle tests out Victory Gundam and is amazed by how maneuverable it is without a beam rotor. The other Zolo pilots eat their food when the kids trick them and knocks one of them out. Odello tackles the other but fails. That is when Susie comes in with the sheep tackle. Odello grabs the gun and takes the pilot as prisoner. Oliver approaches the Gundam thinking it is Uso, but Chronicle begins attacking. The Gundam beam rifle is out of ammo. He whips out his beam saber and goes in to attack Oliver's core fighter, but Uso comes in piloting the stolen Zolo. He deflects the beam saber. Chronicle slices off the Zolo's legs. He doesn't know how to detach the core fighter. Oliver overwhelms them with Vulcans, and the Gundam decides to land. A beam blast comes out of nowhere, distracting Oliver. He lands back at Karelia and gets into a Zolo. Odello tries to shoot him, but Katajina stops him. She says she is a spy, and to stop messing this up for her. He doesn't believe her. Uso comes in with the Zolo and crashes the boots into Chronicle's Zolo. He gets out and notices that Oliver's core fighter is dodging someone's attack. He gets back into the Gundam to help him. It happens to be the Ricarl's beam cannon. It came to regroup with Chronicle's team. Victory comes in and attacks the Ricarl. They take out Uso's leg, causing the Ambak to go out of balance. He ejects the boots. Luckily, Oliver has the core bottom with him. He ejects the boots and gives it to Uso. Chronicle gets Katajina and they make their leave, but she leaves a note for him. As they flee, Uso has a perfect shot, but he knows Katajina is in the Zolo. He hesitates and doesn't shoot. He cries instead. Meanwhile, Shakti found Katajina's note, but doesn't tell Uso. Uso tells Shakti that they can no longer live in Karelia, as it is too dangerous. Marbei is ignoring Oliver and the incident. He heads back to his team and hopes that he will eventually talk to her. Uso wonders, what was that all about? They attach the boots to the top fighter. Uso asks questions about Jin, who is the leader of the League. Dupree deciphers a message from a karaoke video. Is that what's happening here? He borrows Arbeo's Tomliat team for a mission. Both are formal, but there is hate there. They head to DD. Uso notes that this DD happens to be Dresden. He is worried about another attack. No, not Dresden. Haven't they been bombed enough? Shakti wants to go with Uso if he plans on running off somewhere. They sneak on board the core fighter and take off. He tells them he is going to scout ahead before launching. They run into Tomliats and Zolos. It is Dupree's team. Get ready for your first panic attack, Carl, because we are about to head into battle. Why'd they bring the baby? Uso passes by Dupree. He notes he is just a kid, so he orders his men to capture the unit instead of killing them. They surround him when mobile suits approach from behind. Setters approach, bearing the new Gun-EZ. The LM111E02 Gun-EZ is a mass-produced mobile suit created by Ligue Militaire. It has the same generator as Victory Gundam, and they are essentially non-transformable versions of Victory. They could hold their own against Zanskar, though their output is inferior. Weapons include Vulcan guns, a beam saber, a 2-tube multi-launcher, a beam rifle which doubles as a beam pistol, a beam bazooka, a beam shield, and the overhang cannon, which will be taken from the V-Dash Gundam later. It attaches this using its hardpoints. The CS H926 Setter is a subflight system used by Ligue Militaire. Like other subflight systems, there isn't much more to say about it, but it's probably the ugliest subflight system so far. Uso realizes that the Shrike team has been following the Kemion this whole time. He said Doc. He sets down to let Shakti out of the mobile suit. Uso gives her a flare gun so he could find her later. He goes to dock with Oliver while the Shrike team handles business. After transforming back into the Gundam, he is instantly met with a Tomliat. Uso fires and a giant explosion erupts. He accidentally hit the mobile suit's generator. He joins up with the rest of the Shrike team to take out the remaining Tomliats and Zolos. They take out everyone but Dupree. Shakti meets up with the Kamyon and tells them about the Shrike team. The Shrike's team is amazed by the Gundam's ability to take out 2 Tomliats with one shot. Dupree is shot down by one of the Gun-EZs. The Kamyon of the Shrike team regroup. The Shrike team consists of Mahalia Merrill, Helen Jackson, Connie Francis, Peggy Lee, Junko Jinko, and Kate Bush. Oliver says today is the day you become a man and work as a team with all of these ladies. He then gives them a nice bright punch, but also an awkward way to end an episode. The Shrike team flies above the Kamyon. Shakti thinks that Uso wants to follow the Kamyon because of Katajina. DD happens to be a Federation base. They meet with a Federation soldier. His name is Roberto Gomez, who is transporting 3 new Victory Gundams. While talking to Romero, he mentions the name Hangurg Ewan, the name of Uso's father. He inquires about how he knows him, but he doesn't say anything more. Meanwhile, Marbei is jelly of the Shrike team. Uso asks other Fedi mechanics about his father, but gets nothing. Odello and Uso fight for dumb reasons once again. Lupe, Sino, and a small team of Tomliat pilots got word from Dupree that the League is heading south after the last encounter. They report this to Legrand. The Shrike team just watches as the kids fight one another. But Shakti comes out and tells them to stop. Lupe and her men find witnesses who saw the League heading south. She decides to kill all these men before heading out. Uso runs into Odello again. He has that look that says, "I fucking dare you to swing at me." But then he tells him to look into RD Gibraltar. It might lead him to info regarding his dad. This is where the mass driver system is located. They are suddenly attacked by battle bikes. The ladies go into action. Robert Gomez is like, "I didn't sign up for this fight. It's time to bail. Let's get a move on." As the Victory Gundams are being prepped, Uso heads out in a Wappa. The Shrike team heads out as well. Lupe's team happens to come in and intercept. Duker, the battle bike commander, says the age of the terrestrial battles is upon us. No one could stop the bike. The kids are going out in hover vehicles, dude. Let it go. He is trying to be weighed down by gravity. Uso finds the hangar with Robert Gomez's shuttle and gets into the back where Oliver and Marbei are in the Gundams. He gets into the 3rd unit. Lupe's Tomliat team makes it to the battlefield. She transforms her mobile suit and notices the shuttle. It says PCST, or Public Corporation of Space Transport. She realizes a neutral party is taking sides with the League. Meanwhile, Shakti is starting to lose it. I would be too if I had a baby just constantly crying in my ear. Uso comes in and protects Shakti, while Odello and the kids grab her. The Shrike team surrounds Uso to help out. Lupe wonders what happened to their ground cover. Their bikes, it takes them some time. The shuttles finally take off. One Tomliat rushes to take it out, but Helen comes in to protect the ship. She stabs and takes out the mobile suit, while at the same time, the Tomliat crushes her cockpit, killing Helen. The Wappa rushes onto the shuttle as it takes off. Part of the wing was hit, and the Gundams hold it up. Lupe slices at Uso, taking out his boots. Behind her is Peggy in the Gun-EZ. Both her and Uso stab the Tomliat, but Lupe ejects before it is destroyed. The Shrike team realizes that they lost Helen during this battle. The team heads to RD Gibraltar. Shakti reads the note left by Katajina that mentions meeting at this location. 2 units approach their location at 3 o'clock. It happens to be 2 Overhead Hawks. The Overhead Hawks are recon vehicles used by Vespa and the Yellow Jackets. They greatly resemble the DOP from the One-Year War and has its iconic lifted fuselage. Unlike the DOP, this is mainly used for scouting and only has a pair of machine cannons and a twin gun. The shuttle ascends above the clouds while Uso acts as a distraction. Overhead Hawks attack Uso's core top. The 2 Hawks run out of ammo and Uso is able to force them to retreat. Uso looks at the ocean for the first time in his life. What a beautiful view. Time for a Pop-Tart. He makes it to the island where he finds an old man who thinks he is someone named Nicole. Nah, I don't play the piano, bro. Fala's men hit on her, not realizing it is their commander. Flanders is able to lead them to Uso, who made it into town. Susie runs off on her own, yelling sister. She runs into Fala, thinking that it is her older sister. Susie follows her into the bar. They all head in except for Shakti. She's always the one getting shafted. The kids annoy Fala, not knowing who she is. A Vespa truck carrying the guillotine comes into town. Everyone gathers for the execution. It seems that Fala has been searching for the guillotine ever since Zanskare moved it. The people begin protesting and Vespa begins shooting. Uso finds the old man that called him Nicole earlier and the 2 flee. Thinking that he is saving Nicole, he jumps out of the Wappa and throws a rock at the soldier. But rock will always lose to gun as they mow down the old man. The kids flee the scene. Uso cries and says, "I'm not Nicole, you old glorious bastard. But thanks, I guess." He rushes back to the core fighter and finds the guillotine, breaking it into pieces. Tomliats approach and attack the Gundam. The mobile suit transforms and surrounds Uso. Uso puts out his beam shield and pops out the beam saber, using it as a razor blade to cut through the Tomliat. Fowler pursues in the Recarl. She regrets chugging that beer in the bar. The Recarl approaches and fires on the Gundam. Uso does the razor blade technique again and slices the Recarl's beam cannon. Fowler retreats for now. Uso meets up with Oliver and Marbet and the other Gundams. Meanwhile, out in the sea is a sub with a photo of Uso. And that will do it for this episode. Shakti struggles being away from Karelia, but I am sure it has more to do with that screaming baby in her ear. It is the first time we get to see all 3 Gundam units working together. Uso is starting to learn to become a team player. Next time, the team makes it to Arty Gibraltar. Vespa continues their attack, and we unfortunately see another member of the Shrike team fall. The team will also finally head into space. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, be careful with who you dock your Gundam with. Peace.